the price is right, and I like turning it. I'll turn pieces thin and let them go, or I will turn them thick, let them dry for a year, and then come back and return them. It all depends on what I'm making. Okay. This is not a white knuckle operation. Turning with a gouge should be very pleasurable. It should be an easy process, but people make mistakes when they start out. And I'm going to try to demonstrate some things that are common, okay? The first one that's kind of common is turning real slow, okay? And going real fast. What's that?
I was asking Chuck to get a down shot so we can see the two.
So I have an issue here, and it has to do with the RPMs, and I'm not suggesting that fast is good. Okay, that's not what I'm trying to talk about here. What's important is the ratio of speed to feed rate. Okay, feed rate is incredibly important. Now I can get a really nice cut on this at this RPM, but my feed rate has to be really slow. Okay, so if I come in here now and I can, now it was a little grabby. Did you hear how it was grabby? And I got rid of the grab. Can you hear the cut? Now why do you think, and down here it was, you hear it's kind of bouncy? Can you hear that? And if I rotate it, all of a sudden, I'm getting a much better cut. And I slowed my feed rate down. Any guesses of why it was jumping? John, you're a smart guy.
Give me the tool time to cut.
And the bevel wasn't rubbing. Your bevel is your best friend.
No support.
Huh?
You had no support.
Right, exactly, no support. Now, if I turn my feed rate up, it allows if I turn my RPMs up, it allows my feed rate to be faster. Okay? That's the advantage of a higher speed. Speed kills, okay? But now I can come in here and I can have a faster feed rate, and I've got that bevel touching. Now look what happens when I start cutting with the front. So what I did there is, rather than having the bevel touch, I rotated it a little bit, and I was cutting with the very front. And so I got a very choppy cut. Okay? And so what I'm trying to, what I do, and every wood has its way it wants to be cut. You've got to find out how to cut it. All right? And you do that by rotating the gouge, figuring out, changing your angle, and there's going to be some sweet spot that you're going to find. It's not always identical. Okay? Some woods, because of the way the tree grew, you're better to go downhill than uphill. So if I'm not getting a very good cut going uphill, I will reverse and go downhill. So the idea here now is that I want to finish the outside. Whoops. So now, you notice I don't have a death grip. Okay, with a good sharp tool, I can come in here and remove a lot of material. If my lathe has a good a good torque, now I'm taking about 3/8 cut. And that's because I got a nice, straight surface there. So now I was not too bad of a cut, but as I got to the point where you can see some of the shavings are like 3/8 to a 1/2 inch. Now, with more power, you can take a bigger cut. Well, let's go ahead and finish this bowl real quick. Now, watch the back of the tool. The only way you can keep the bevel rubbing is to move the back of the tool. If you start with a nice bevel touching, and then I don't turn the tool, one thing I start digging in more, and I have to turn that tool to get that same amount of cut. Now I can do a push cut, and push cuts can work really well. And again, I've got that bevel. And notice my feed rate. Now this would like this. But feed rate is so important. Material, I slow my feed rate down, or I come back and just cut a little bit off.
Brad?
Yeah.
For the sake of the newer members, I'd like to raise a point here. On the screen here, we could see the shaving building up, but you were continuing your cut. I suspect, based on my experience, you couldn't see where the tool was cutting. You were looking over the crown of the piece.
Great, I was looking over here.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I was watching.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't watch the tool.
Maybe you can explain it. But
Yeah. Yeah.
Everybody can hear.
Now, if you come up and look at the cut here. Come here and feel this. What's this feel like? Does this feel like a reasonable cut?
Survey said.
Reasonable cut.
Okay. Now, the gouge also has the ability to do a shear cut. Okay? And a shear cut is done, and every lathe got it used to. But a shear cut is done with this edge, the front edge, rolled over quite a ways, and you're not really using the bevel. You're shearing. And if you shear cut nicely, and you can do this, and I'm rotating to get a better shear cut. I can go both directions. I don't have to go just the one direction. See the, I don't know if you can see the shavings that are coming off, but every now and then I get a nice long one. You don't take, I'm taking too much material over this one. I'm going to just let it go. But pay attention to my feed rate. Okay, Jeff, is that any better? Oh. A new tool that I just got, which I am enjoying, it's a shear scraper.
From John Jordan.
From John Jordan. And you can make this out of any scraper. It's just that his is nice because you can go two different directions. You can use it this way, you come downhill. I can turn it around, and so now I can do a shear scrape. Okay? When you do a shear scrape, you do want the RPMs to be down a little bit. And I'll try it. I don't know if you got this, but... These dull pretty fast. But because I'm doing a lot of natural edges, yeah, that's better. This maple is, by the way, that big pile of maple that was right here, really nice stuff. Now, probably some of you were wondering why I have this stair step here. Is anybody wondering that?
Yes.
Good wonder. I like to bring my bowls down around and make it a very, very nice curve. And then I can match that curve on the inside. And if I was to turn this all the way down to my spigot, I wouldn't have enough wood left. So let me just finish this real quick. And then in the end you'll see what I'm talking about. I'm going to go ahead and kind of looking here, trying to get rid of that bump. That feed rate is so important. I'm going to call this wood because I'll end up coming back to it. Okay, that's reasonable. Okay, so now I'll be able to take this line all the way through. There's material here, and I'll be able to take it all the way through down to here. And I can actually use all of the wood, but I can't get in there very effectively and make a nice gentle curve with the jaws here and all that. So I leave this excess wood and then I'll come back to that later. So let's now talk about cutting the inside out. So another thing you can do with a gouge is a pole cut. And this is a real nice cut to clean up the front. Now, you hear this, and then listen. You hear the difference in cutting, and you can see the difference in the chips that are coming off. Any sense of why the difference in sound?
Different density?
The bevel, I wasn't touching the bevel. And as I started out, I was just using the front edge. And as I opened it up, the bevel started rubbing, and the sound was nicer, and it didn't sound so scratchy. And you could tell I was getting a better cut. One thing I forgot to mention, let me go back over here. This is my what I do with new turners that come to my shop, they struggle with what's the bevel. And that whole thing all the way around is the bevel. And so what I suggest is get the bottom here touching first. See, so I'm making a mark there because I'm having that bottom touch. Then I say bring the bottom of the tool up until you start cutting, and then rotate so you don't get chips in your mouth. And now you're cutting with the bevel. If you fall off, you rub, you rotate, and you get it to cut, and then you cut. And you've got that bevel running. And that bevel's running, it sounds real sweet. And those chips just fly off. Okay, so that's a real good way to get your bevel. Hit the butt first, bring the back of the tool up. When it cuts, rotate and go. Okay, it's a little stinky, isn't it?
I was curious what kind of wood it was.
It's the maple.
That's maple.
Yeah, we cut it down the other day. It's really nice stuff, but it is a little stinky. Okay, let's do the inside. So, you ever had the tool run on you? Okay, I got a few little things up here I want you to remember. We haven't talked about open and close yet. V-gouge I'll talk about in a minute. If jumping around, you're off the bevel, we talked about that. Start closed, go to open. That's the trick. So if you're going to start a cut, when the gouge is like this, it's totally closed. And then you rotate, it's open. If you think of it this way, it actually looks like a knife. So you can put that in there, and it's not going to run on you. Because the minute you start cutting, it's going to be supported there on the back of the bevel. So what you do is you start, and then you open. You start, and you open. And keep that bevel. Start. Where this really comes in handy is on natural edge bowls. And with new turners, this is where you get in a rhythm. Start and rotate. I'm just going to take some of this wood off. Start, rotate, and that bevel is touching. This is not a white knuckle operation either. So I'm starting here, and by the time I get done, I'm way over here. And what forces me to get way over here is the fact that the bevel's rubbing. Okay? Not because I want to. It's because I should. Okay? Because that bevel is your friend. So if I'm getting a good cut, and again, the feed rate is so important. And I have to get a little bit thinner cut at the bottom. Anybody know why? The RPMs. Yeah, it's going very slow in the middle. So now I have a pretty good cut.
Your RPM stays the same, your surface speed changes.
Right, your rib speed out here is much faster.
Well, your RPM is the same no
Right.
matter where you are.
Right, exactly.
Surface speed changes.
Yeah, that's a good way to describe it. I think of it as rim speed because it's bigger around, but it is surface speed. So you have to slow down. Or, because when you try to take a larger cut, it doesn't work for you. So, what kind of time we got? I don't have my watch.
It's 8:30.
8:30, okay. All right, so I'm just going to take a few minutes and just get this out of there because I want to do some stuff at the bottom that I want to show you. But I can't show you until I get there. Okay, so just bear with it. I know it's not the most exciting thing to watch.
It is when you do it.
Yeah. Okay, now, as you're watching, watch how close this edge gets to this edge. Because I'm See, I'm starting to lose my bevel. You hear that chattering? That's because I'm losing my bevel. So let's see what this guy does. So now I've got this bevel here. You can't take as much material with this. Come on. a nice cut.
So Brad, do you stand on the lower portion of the wall with that, with the 60 degree? You don't go all the way to the top, you...
I can't hear you.
I'm asking the question, with the 60 degree, which you've already changed to, the bottom feeder, you don't go all the way up on the work on the top part of the wall, you just start from halfway down and finish out the bottom?
Yeah, I could. I was just trying to get it an even wall thickness. I'm a little thicker here right now.
Okay.
I like to get my wall the same thickness before I make my final cuts.
But I guess my question was, is you'll use your 45 degree,
No, I'll probably use this guy.
even...
I don't know, we'll see how it works.
Okay.
It's been about 10 years since I've used this. The problem with this is getting started. It's a little harder to get started. That's ingrained, and that's part of the problem. It just doesn't want to cut. So I've got to take a lighter cut. See if I can get across there.